y'all's mouths open like that, that's exactly the way hers did. She did not know what to say. She did not know what to do, and she definitely wasn't calling on me no more after that. She didn't want nothing else I had to say. So I thank God for her, though. I'm glad she held on. So after that, I told her, I am atheist. I do not believe. So, but the reason I did that was because I did not want to be here. I did not want to be in church. I did not want to be here. Being here means that I had to look at what I was doing. And you know how hard that is. Nobody wants to look at what you're doing. It's very, very hard to see yourself in the mirror like that. So, after she kindly went to D and talked to him, D told her, said, look, the boy don't know what atheist means. He don't even know what it means. So, you just love him and we'll show him. And I'm standing in front of you today, so the reason I told her was that because I didn't want to come, so lo and behold, you can tell it did not work. Okay, so I'm here. God has a plan for you, whether you understand it or not, He has a plan for you. So, all right, I told you that story to tell you this story. Here we go. The first 10 years I was born, everything was great. Had mama, daddy, little brother, cousins, everything was beautiful. You couldn't ask for nothing no better. Automatically, when I turned 11 years old, it seemed like everything in the world was crashing down on top of me. Daddy and mama got divorced. He left. She started dating other people, and I'm a little boy. I wanted my daddy there, and all this other stuff, and it was just falling apart. So when that happened, this is where a lot of people have addictions. People have addictions to drugs. People have addictions to alcohol. But there are other addictions that will destroy your life just as fast, other than alcohol or drugs. One of mine was pornography. Mm-hmm. Pornography is one of the worst addictions you could ever get into. And you will fight that to the bitter end for the rest of your life if you ever get into it. I was never told when I was small that was bad. Nobody ever said, hey, you shouldn't be watching that. That's bad. Don't look at that. Nobody ever said that to me. So I thought it was just fine. Hey, I thought it was fine. So, when my mom and daddy got divorced, she started dating other people. So at school, my mom started dating a black gentleman. So where I was from down in Belzone in the Delta, it wasn't bad for her, it was bad for me. And the reason I say it was bad for me is because it made the white kids not want to be around me. It made the black kids not want to be around me. The black kids told me, hey, just because your mama dated a black man don't mean you black, so you can't be with me. The white kids said, hey, your mama dated a black man, get away from me. And me being Mexican, it just was everywhere. I was a bad part of that. They just pushed me both sides. I was going right off that. So that did my part to want to please or try to fit in. This is another addiction of mine. It's lying. Everybody lies, but when you start to lie so much that you actually start believing your lies, that it's like second nature, you're going, I didn't do that. Why in the world do I tell people I've done that? I didn't do that. But you start believing them if you tell lies that much. So that was my addiction. That's just like if some of the people in school said, hey man, I went and shot 6 people last night. I said, I was right there beside you. You didn't see me? I was right there, man. I did the same thing. Knowing it was a lie. It was a lie. But it made me feel better to fit in with everybody. And that's one of the addictions that stuck with me all my 47 years. It's been here. Stuck with me through all these years. When my mom and daddy divorced, he was, what would you say, very critical person. Very critical person. So, like if I was helping him, he'd be like, you're stupid, why'd you do that? You can't do nothing right. You're fat, you're dumb, just get away from me. That's another thing that has stuck with me throughout my life. James and Dee have a first-hand experience of this. I'll tell you the story. I'm like Dee now, I'm getting just like him. I'll tell you this story. Wait a minute. Me and James and Dee and a few other people built this church. We built it. Me and James was we're probably about right there. That beam up yonder at the very top of it. There is a bucket of bolts and nuts right here beside me. I was going to reach up there and put a nut and a bolt through this beam like this. I dropped that bolt from there to the ground. I literally got so mad I could have done a nosedive off the top of that lift, straight to the ground. That's how upset I was. James, being cool like he is, he sat back on the side like this, just waiting for me to get done, having a temper tantrum. Like a kid. And when I finally turned around, James kicked that bucket. He said, "There's a whole bucket of them in there. Why don't you reach and get another one and stick it up there?" It's hard to be mad around James. I'm just saying, it's hard to be mad around James because he'll make you laugh. So it's hard to be mad when you're laughing. But yeah, my dad, he just, with the name calling and the being critical, and that's one thing, y'all, with your kids, I know it's a hard cycle to break, because to being critical of them or name calling or something, I know you say, well, I said it today, but they're fine. They don't remember that. That's not always true. It's not always true at all. I've held on to that and know it every word, just like he's standing in front of me. I know every word he ever told me, just like he's standing here, and I can hear him saying it. And now when we're working and I get mad at myself, I do the same thing. Yeah, fat, dumb, fat, stupid. Did I mention fat? So
and Mexican.
Yeah, and Mexican, that's right. Fat and Mexican, that's exactly right. So see, I mentioned all that in one sentence because I dropped the nail. Because I dropped the nail on the floor, just have a complete, utter meltdown. That's not very healthy at all. But it's part of it. It's part of what went into me when I was little. One of the things that I found out that made it a little worse is I did not know that my daddy was not my daddy. I found out later that my mom was pregnant before they ever got together. They never told me that. So, the man I wanted to be there for me and to be a daddy to me, he wasn't my daddy. So that also affected me, because it went from this is my son to this is my stepson. 12, 13 years I was his son. But then I went to being his stepson. People, if y'all have in integrated families like that, they're yours. Don't do that. They're yours. They're your sons, they're your daughters. Always let them know that. It hit a little hard there for a moment. So I guess it he already knew I wasn't his, but it just for him knowing that I knew, it kind of angered him. So he just started treating me different, like it was the best in the beginning when it wasn't, but then it just turned around to be even worse with the name calling or something like that. I'll tell you something else, another story. He was a commercial fisherman. We were cutting fish in the rain. I was cutting fish in the rain. It was pouring down. It was coming a hurricane. This knife slipped through this fish. I come back this way. It split my thumb all the way up and down like this. It had to be 14, I think. 13, 14. Split it all the way down like that. He was inside drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, while I was outside cutting fish. I come in there and showed him, pulled it open, showed him. He said, "You did that on purpose, so you wouldn't have to cut them fish." I said, I literally cut my thumb off so I wouldn't have to cut fish. I said, no, that's wrong. So it kind of tore our relationship apart. I did not want it to be that way. I wanted him to be my daddy. I wanted him to be right there. But it wasn't that way. It just kind of tore us apart more and more. So with that being like it was, and the school being the way it was, and my mom and daddy fighting back and forth, and I have a little brother that belongs to him, between him and my mom. But the attention thing, I know it's a kid thing, but crave attention. Kids crave attention, especially from your parents. They crave your attention. All they want is your time. I know everybody say, oh, I gotta buy them a dirt bike and all this. They don't want that. That is something for 5 minutes they will love. But they want your time, your attention. That's what they want. They want mama to be right there so they can say, mama, 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 mama. Or daddy, so they can say, daddy, what does this do? And daddy, how does this work? And you'll go, son, shut up. I don't want to hear it. Just be quiet. Shut up. But that's what they want from you. They want your time. And that's what I wanted. I wanted their time. Mama was there. He was not. So, and when he was there, he was calling us names and stuff. So, about 20 years old, I figured out that I could carry a note, when I sung. So I said, okay, well, if I can do that, and I'd sing for somebody and they wanted me to play in the band. I played at Rolling Hills in Sardis. I played at Rolling Hills in Sardis for about 20 years. I played there, I played at Country Music Palace, I played in Kentucky, I played all over the place, playing and singing. And I loved it, but this is the irony of this. Something I love to do kind of made it where I couldn't be in love with anybody. Because I love to sing, but because I craved attention, and I'm kind of like Leah in this aspect. I wanted everybody to love me, everybody to like me, even if I had to lie to get it. I wanted everybody to like me. So, for 20-something years, I played in the bar, and I craved attention, especially female attention like guys do. We crave female attention. Me being on stage, I figured out I could have all the female attention I wanted. So, I did a lot of breaking hearts. I have 4 kids, from 3 different women because of all of this. And not because of all, but it's something in me, just something in me that I didn't understand, or really, matter of fact, at that point, really didn't care. I was doing everything I thought I wanted to do, you know what I mean? So I didn't have no reason to look at myself. I was never raised with God in my life, none. When I was about, I guess I was about 6 years old, little fat shame, about this tall, that big around. So, about that tall. Grandma used to go to a church outside of Belzona. We lived in Belzona, Mississippi. Little Pentecostal church right outside of town. First time I ever went, I looked around, and I said, man. So I got to really look at, and everybody there was 400, 500, 600 pounds. They ate breakfast, lunch, in between supper and dinner. We ate supper on the grounds. Man, we ate every time the hour struck. We ate at that church. And I'm going, this is my kind of joint, man. I love this place. Me being a fat little boy, I loved it. It was awesome. But it's also, and I don't know if some of y'all have had this experience, sometimes going to different churches, you let the people at church steer you away from God. Yeah. God had nothing to do with that. This is putting your trust in people. You put your trust in people, it's bound to fail sooner or later. I just think it's bound to fail sooner or later when you put your trust in people. It's just how it is. Because we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And if that person that holds you up here on this pedestal up here sees you fall or sees you make a mistake, there's no telling what it will do to their mind of what they think of you, and said, well, and they're all about God. How in the world did they fail? Now, if they can do that means I can fail too. That means, why am I listening? Why am I doing this? So that's kind of the way it was when I was young. All this leads up to my start to not believing. I started off sitting in the 18-wheeler driving a truck, and if the traffic got bad, I would look up and go, yeah, that's fine. That's just what you would do, wouldn't you? Yeah, I know. You put all the traffic in front of me. So I was talking to God. So there for a moment, I was talking to him. I was cussing him out at the same time, but I was talking to him. So I must have believed. But then it got to the point that I was going, ain't all this stuff. Why am I even saying this stuff? How am I going to sit here and say I don't believe, and I'm sitting here talking to the air? Why am I doing that? So it got to the point that I really just got to myself and just made myself not believe, say, I don't believe in God. Which is a very, very bad thing, because to me, without God, there's no morals. You know, anything to me is legal without God. So, and when that comes in your brain that you don't believe, that means anything, you can do anything and you'll find a reason to say, okay, yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm fine. You know, I shot somebody today, I'm fine. You know, it's going to be fine. So that started my on the road to not believing. As I got older and in the bar, the sexual addiction stuff got worse. It just got worse. I've been married 3 times. My wife, Ray, I can't tell you how many times I've broken her heart because of the way I was. Matter of fact, she ought to flip me the bird every time she sees me now, just for all that. She should have. I've had some good wives. They never had no husband. I've had some good wives. I got 4 kids. One of the things about what comes out of that is when I started not to believe. My oldest daughter, Deanna, she is a daddy's girl. So this is one of the things I did not know. She listened to everything I ever said. Like if I was around her and said, you know, I don't believe in God. She grew up saying, Daddy says that, so I'm going to believe it too. That literally broke my heart to hear her say that. And to know that she's only saying that because I'm the one who said it. And she loves her daddy, so she's going to believe what her daddy says. That's heartbreaking, y'all. That is so heartbreaking. To know that your daughter don't believe in God, and you're the reason that she don't believe in God. So, don't do that. Don't do that. Protect your kids. Let's see. All right, yeah, the singing and the teaching. The singing got me attention. The attention got me girls. I was married. I had kids out of wedlock and all this other stuff. So it's just like a snowball. It just rolls. It just rolls. In all of this, I never one time, you know, because I really did not know God. I did not know anything about God. I didn't know Jesus. I didn't know what Jesus done for us. I didn't know anything. I didn't have a single person in my life that could tell me anything about what God did for us and what Jesus did for us. Nobody. Didn't have a single soul. So walking down that path of just being a bad person, that was the only way I knew. I didn't know no other way to be. When it come to, I guess I really, when I come to the belief of not believing, I had done really got mad. I'd say I got mad at God and said, you know, well, I'm mad at God, and well, since, you know, nothing's changed, then I don't believe. He ain't there, so I don't believe him. I don't believe he's real. So I drilled that into my own head, that God is not real. Affecting the kids. That's one of the things, like I said, it's heartbreaking to affect your kids that way. To know that they don't believe because you don't believe. I met my wife, Ray, amongst all this. She was one of the girls that I broke her heart 9 or 10, 11, 12. I can't even count how many times. And back then we were both in sin. That's all we done. You know, we didn't know anything about church. So we're both in sin. So she never gave up on me, which is a great thing. And this is where I say God uses people. God uses people around you. There may be somebody walking down the street and you just don't know it. But God, for the people who want to be used by God, God will use them if it's to be in your life to help you along. God used my wife to help me. I did not understand that the first time we came to Hosanna. All I know is she drug me here and I did not want to be here. So, I conned her again to coming home and getting married. So we got married, and needless to say, all of my addiction things with the porn and being the way I was, get them before they get me. I'm not going to let them hurt me. I'm going to hurt them first before they hurt me. I'm not dealing with that. That went right into my marriage. So one day, she finally got enough and she left. She packed all her stuff once again and she left. So this is where my revelation with God came around. I was sitting in an empty house, all alone with every light out. For the last month, I have tried to lie to her, con her, manipulate her, everything. It did not work because she was listening to God. She was listening to Him. So, and I was playing, like when we're coming here, I was playing like I was listening to Him. There's the difference. But I finally sat back in that recliner with the lights off because I had done rattled my brain and going, I said, okay. I said, God, I don't know what to do. If you're up there, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell her. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make my life any better. One of the things I was coming down on myself, talking about, why am I this way? Why do I have to do the things I'm doing, to hurt people around me? They don't do nothing but love me. All they do is love me, and I'm just constantly just want to hurt them. Why am I doing this? So I leaned back in that chair and said, God, I'm done. I said, I'm leaving it up to you. So I said that, I laid back in that chair, and I think I dozed off for maybe an hour. But believe me or not, a voice come to me in my mind that said, it's time to tell the truth. That's what it said. Time to tell the truth. Ooh, time to tell the truth. When we started CR, we had little tents set around town, Piggly Wiggly and Jiffy and different places. God, somehow or another, I don't know how I ended up there, paired me up with Joseph and Mel. That's where I was at. I was sitting in the seat beside Melanie, and that same voice come in my head. Time to tell the truth. Time to tell the truth. It's like it was kicking the back of my chair. Tell the truth. Say it. So, Melanie, I have never lied to Melanie a day in my life. But I said, Melanie, have I ever told you this? She said, no. I said, well, if I did, I lied. I said, have I ever told you that? She said, no. I said, well, if I did, I lied about that too. And just for an hour going on, I lied about that. And I was going, I didn't even know you when you were 6. Why are you telling me this? But it's what God told me to do. That voice told me, and I know it was Him just as well as I'm standing here. He told me it's time to stop lying. Time to tell the truth. That release of getting that out of me and openly saying, I am a liar. My wife really didn't even know. She's known me all these years. She really didn't even know who I was because all I did was tell lies. She didn't know who I was. And that's one of the things she told me. She said, I don't even know who you are. We're married. I said, well, yeah, that's kind of how it is. I don't know what else to say. It's like that. But that release of letting God do what He does, and me not fighting Him or not relying on myself or not, going, oh, I'm not doing that. But me just being willing, it just released all of that on me. Now, I'm not saying that I don't still have some struggles, because I have some struggles and a half, because through the years, that stuff is embedded in my brain. And it's very hard to get it out of your brain when you get it in there. Now, I call myself fat, dumb, and stupid probably at least 10 times a day. Sometimes I'm playing, sometimes I'm not. I mean, sometimes that's just what I think I am there for a moment. I say a cuss word at least 2 or 3 times a day. Don't get me wrong, we all do, and I do. But I know God still loves me. Yes. I know God is still for me. I know what Jesus did for me. So I'm not going to run off in shame because I say a cuss word today. I'm not going to run off in shame and hide my head and never come to church because I call myself fat, dumb, and stupid today. You know, when I have bad days, when I get by myself or, you know, maybe I'm off by myself working or something, I talk with God and tell him, I said, man, I'm you know, just take that from me. I'm sorry. I mean, I wish I didn't get so upset. My anger problem is another thing that extends from that. I don't know if anybody has bad anger issues. I have very bad anger issues that kind of takes control of me, and that's where all that calling myself fat, dumb, and all this other stuff comes from. And that's another thing that's very hard to get out of you if you have anger issues. And I think most men have kind of an anger. We have made like anger problems. I don't know why. We just seem to have anger problems. So,
except for James.
Yeah, except for James, yeah. I'm saying James. Another story. All right. I love how I tell stories about James. We were in here. We were over here working on these over here. James built that. That back yonder where that TV sets on top of, it's metal. James built that, welded it up and everything. He built it. Had that joker standing up there. He went to take off with that forklift. That forklift was about a ½ inch taller than that frame was. When James took off, put it to the floor, boom, hit it. That joker did like a domino, fell from this end to that end, to the ground. I mean, I literally, if it had been me, I could have ran my head through that wall. I'd have been so upset. I told James after he got off that thing, one of these days, I'm going to be just like you, man. He said, well, you wasn't in my head. I said, you're right, I wasn't in your head. Because if I was in your head, you probably sound like me. But the thing is, James had it under control. You know, he literally got down, picked all that back up, set it all back up, straightened it out, and welded it back together. Yeah, I literally could have just went home. That'd have been it. I told D, I quit. That's it. I'm done. I am done with this. I'm not doing this no more. Tell stories about James. Nowadays, with my struggles that I have, I can't say I don't try to rely on myself every now and then because it does come into my head. You know, everybody has it to where, you know, oh, I can fix this, I can do this, I can do this. But in the end, I'll always, even after I mess up 2 or 3 times, I always have to stop and say, why am I trying to do this on my own? How many times have I messed this up? Why am I trying to do this on my own? When he's right there waiting. That's all he wants you to do is say, God, please help me with this. I'm just struggling. I just need your help with this. He is right there with you. He understands everything you're saying. He knows you need help before you ever say it. He just wants you to come to him wholeheartedly and without somebody dragging you by your arm. Amen. He wants you to come by what? Your own free will. That's what he wants you to do. So, where we are now is me and my wife have been here for 7 years. I have some of the best friends I've ever had in my life, and they put up with me every day, so I can tell you that's not no easy feat to put up with me and all my getting upset and mad and everything. So, but they put up with me. Being here, God using my wife to get to me to get me to come here and for us to make our lives revolve around him, not revolve around each other. That revolve around each other thing, that is, some people may make it a lifetime that way. But life is so much more when you have God in the middle of it.
Yes.
When you're both looking toward him and not trying to look at each other, you will get closer and closer together as you come to him. And that just makes everything happen. My wife and I now, she may say something different, you know, she may say, you know, if she was here. But to me, we have been blessed beyond anything I could ever imagine. I remember when we didn't have two nickels to rub together. Matter of fact, you know, credit was so bad they wouldn't even take our cash because they thought I made it. So, yeah, that was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But just, and guys, I know it's hard. Don't get me wrong. I know it's hard. But if you have a good woman beside you, man, it's not less manly to let her, you know, in a relationship, there's two people. There's a person who knows finances, and there is a person who does not know finances. Okay? Just in this, there is one who does and one who doesn't. That's what I'm talking about. These two over here already know. That's what I'm saying. In the relationship, there is that way. I do not know finances. I get $1 in my pocket, man, I'm already thinking about what can I spend it on. I'm ready to spend. She is not. She says no. She has a book like this with every bill we have for the month written down, the prices, everything. And at the end down here, she says, this is what we have left right here. If it's $2, then it is $2. That's all that's left. So, what I said that for is because if you have a good person by your side, you know, women, if you have a good husband, you have a good wife. To me, it's not unmanly to let your wife have a little control every now and then, especially with things that she's good at. God made us all different. He made us good at a lot of different things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, finances is not mine. Finances is hers. Man, why not? You know, let her, you know, you can still be manly. You know, don't get me wrong. You can still be manly. Wear a muscle shirt or something. You know, take the garbage out. Exactly. He just takes it to the back of his truck. I mean, that's all he ever does. He takes it out, but it's in the back of his truck. And then we invite Brother Rayford out there to look at his truck and take a ride, and Brother Rayford cleans it out. That's just how it is. I mean.
That works.
But, yeah, he's got a great system on that. He really does. My wife and I, like I said, been here for 7 years. I've been here at the church helping. I've been on the worship team. I've sung, I've played the guitar. My wife, she has a small group that's right out here on most Wednesdays. They're bowling right now. She does a young adults group right out here. I work with Dee and James. Me and James and Dee work. I clean the church. My life is here. And one of the things I said that for is get godly people around you. If you have struggles, get godly people around you. I have learned to hold my tongue because it used to be a whole lot worse. I've learned to hold my tongue being around Dee and some other people, like, you know, Chris and Mr. David and all of them. I've learned to hold my tongue even more, to have that little bit of control. I know I don't have very much, but I do have a little bit. And even James will look at me and go, you all right? He'll wait until I calm down for a minute and say, yeah, you all right. Come on. So, but yeah, keep godly people around you. Open yourself up to let God come in your heart, which He lives within us. You know, He's there. He wants to be there. He's literally just begging, please. All I want to do is love you. This is what I want to do. I want to bless you. I want to love you. This is all I want to do for you. Yeah. You know, but He wants you to come wholeheartedly without somebody dragging you. He wants you to do it wholeheartedly. So, as far as blessings, like I said, I can't count the blessings we've had. Our lives have gotten nothing but better. Every time that we've needed anything, I have literally stopped and said, God, I'm leaving this up to you. I mean, I'm going to go and do my regular thing. I'm going to go to work. She's going to go to work. We're going to do our regular thing. You know what we need. I love you for everything that you do for us. And by every means possible, every time I turn around, he has never let us down. Even if it's the very day that something needs to be paid, somehow or another, it comes through. And he uses people, yourselves, to help people like that. He uses you. Like I said, it may drop $100 on you just so you can drop $100 on somebody else that needs it. So in my closing, I thank God for everything, because without him, right now, there ain't no telling where I'd be. I'd probably be in the bar, tell you the truth. I'd probably be singing in for everybody else and probably have 1,500 kids. So, but I thank him for everything he's ever done for us. Only thing I could ask of y'all is, and I know it's hard, don't get me wrong, because I was a sinner. I could sin with the best of them. Open your heart to him. I know you'll go, why am I doing this? I'm talking to the sky. Why am I doing this? I know. Don't get me wrong. I ask myself to say, I'm sitting there, I'm looking dumb. God, I'm just sitting here talking to the sky. Who am I talking to? But open your heart up to him. Let him show you that he is there. If you have a problem and you say, well, I don't believe because I can't see him, give him a chance. Give him a chance. The very time you say that person sitting next to you, he may tell them, lean over and tell them that I love them. That's just how it happens. If you open your heart and let him have control of your life, from one sinner to another, everything will work out. Everything. He loves y'all. Thank y'all.
Amen.